Hello everybody out there watching on YouTube, and welcome to race number 11 of Season 7 of the NNSCRA Marvel Studios Cup Series. I am Levi McIntyre, the voice of the NNSCRA Marvel Studios Cup Series, here to welcome you to the Aaron's 499 here at Talladega Superspeedway, as we are getting set for 29 laps of racing at the biggest restrictor plate track we go to on the schedule. Now, before we get into everything, here is a recap of the point standings after our previous, failed race recording at Pukekohe, as Zachary Fitzwater managed to get his third win of the season and take the points lead back, and leads by 10 points over Jessica Shelton. Now you are seeing your starting lineup for the race today, and front row, it's Curtis McIntyre Racing galore, and it's funny enough, the two owners of the team, DJ Curtis on the pole with Matt McIntyre right next to him in second. Bit of an interesting lineup, to say the very least, but with that said, let's get the command to fire engines for the Aaron's 499 at good old Talladega.
Drivers, start your engines!
So yeah, keep in mind that this is still the same package we've run last season at Daytona and Talladega, or restrictor plate tracks in general, with the different EXE, truck physics, and lowered CPU strength. Now, this race is going to be really interesting considering the drivers we have in the field, as well as potentially no pit stops. So basically, I believe these drivers all are going to be able to make it on just the one tank of fuel and maybe only one set of tires. Now, still, everyone talks about it, the big one. There is still the fear that we could get the big one at any point in this race. It could be at the beginning of the race, could be in the middle of the race, could be on the very last lap. We just don't know how it's going to turn out, especially considering we are at a older Talladega. We're at Talladega 2006 spring, prior to when they did the repave. And the reason why is because I seem to get better racing out of this version of Talladega and less crashes. Well, depends on how the game is feeling, but hopefully in this race, at least, we'll be able to have some quality racing regardless of wrecks and whatever else. But, like I said, yeah, the front row is Curtis McIntyre Racing galore, and then row 2, you got 2 out of the 3 Michael Norman Motorsports drivers, Michael Norman and Cole Deaver, and then Cody Lamas starting in 5th, and that's the top 5 starting lineup for the race, as the pace car is pulled in the pit road. So, ladies and gentlemen, you know what time it is, don't you? You're darn right. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time to boogity 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 go Talladega racing. dead heat almost right at the line, but Michael Norman using the outside lane to hold off DJ Curtis to lead that lap. But now the bottom lane's starting to kick in as Cody Lamas now takes over the race lead for the time being, but he left the bottom open for Jonathan Zorlane, who's getting a push from Carson Gum to try and get up to the front of the field. And I see a little bit of action back here at nearly 4 wide. Luckily, they can make 4 wide work. It's just a matter of giving room to one another and not causing any issues. But luckily, we avoid any issues. But Jonathan Zorlane now takes the race lead over. But here comes Chris Dollarton with a full head of steam and a push from Dylan Jacobs. Chris Dollarton, in fact, now that he's leading, he actually comes in this race 37th in points. Definitely not had a good start to Season 7. Hopefully he can turn his luck around and get a win at the biggest beast of them all on the schedule in terms of oval tracks. Meanwhile, we got a battle going on for second. Ryan Acosta with help from Henry Sanford trying to take second away, and he does take that spot. But could he want to go for the race lead now? He's right behind Chris Dollarton, so he might be able to make something work if he can pull down low, and he's going to do that. He heard what I said, and now he's got to run to the inside, but no draft help yet. But here comes Clint Spillman into 60, as Acosta does lead that lap. But now Clint Spillman going to try and take the lead over. Now Clint Spillman definitely in desperation of getting some good runs. 39th in points. Lowest of any rookie so far this season. And here comes Cole Baker with a run to try and take the race lead. And Cole Baker kind of in a similar situation to Clint Spillman, just wanting to get some good runs to kind of put him back into the conversation of winning races, so to speak. And right now, Cole Baker doing a solid job at holding off everyone, and actually he's going to get a little help from his teammate James Shelley to keep him up there for the lap. But now Shelley feels, hey Baker, you led a lap, now it's my turn to lead a lap. Proper teamwork, so to speak. And now James Shelley takes over the top spot. But a couple of new contenders, Melissa Alexander right behind Shelley, and Jay Jefferson was pushing the 28 but ended up going to the outside. And now he's getting left hanging as Shelley tries to go up to block the outside, but left the bottom open, as here comes Melissa Alexander with a run on the bottom to take the lead for herself. And Melissa Alexander comes into this race 30th in points. She actually fell 10 spots after Pukekohe, after I believe she got caught up in a crash, and I think she finished bottom 5 in that race, hence why she dropped so many spots. But now Artur Castanha leads the way, and look who's right behind. Points leader Zachary Fitzwater. And Fitzwater perhaps trying to go for his 4th win already here in Season 7. I don't know what's gotten into Zachary Fitzwater to just suddenly start dominating, but he's really been showing that he's a driver to watch out for the remainder of the season in terms of the championship. Even though we're just getting close to the 1/3 mark of the season, he's definitely in the conversation of drivers to perhaps win the championship. Jake Rogers leading for now, but look at the run Kyle Matthews got. I believe he got pushed from Julia Katrine and then crossed over to the bottom, and it pays off as he leads that lap with the help of Dylan Young right behind him now. As they're maintaining 3 wide for several rows, and they're just racing it out really, really, really aggressively, but very, very cleanly as well. Dylan Young feels it's go time to try and lead a lap to get a valuable bonus point. Remember, but if I can actually speak, that'd be dangerous. But the more points you get, the better off you are in the championship standings. Hence why qualifying has been a lot more competitive this season in terms of who gets to start in the top 3 starting positions to try and get those extra points towards the championship. But man, Dylan Young got left hanging high and dry for a long time right there. and is slowed down so much as Hannah Klein led at the line, but Jordan Forbes now takes the race lead over. Seemed like a lot of drivers just went from the middle or the top side all the way to the bottom to try and make moves. And that cost Dylan Young several positions. Jordan Forbes was the leader, but now Rafael LeDuc takes over the top spot. Now LeDuc comes into this race 17th in points, so he's been maintaining top 20 in points for a good chunk of the season so far. Just hasn't gotten that win yet. Could today be the day? But just as I say that, here comes Caleb Kilburn, 3rd in points, looking to get a great run to perhaps even take the points lead over going into the penultimate race before, or the final race before All-Star break later this week. Darlington, that's going to be quite something when we get to Darlington very, very soon. Caleb Kilburn hanging on strong for now, but just as I say that, here comes Cole Deaver with a run. As lap times continue to be faster than they are in qualifying, well, it's expected since they're all in a pack, going much, much faster than they were during qualifying. Cole Deaver went up high to block Benjamin Miles, but at the same time left the bottom open for Rafael Fireblade to lead at the line. And look who's coming up in the bottom lane, second car in the bottom, Jesse Turner, who's been one of the most pleasant surprises so far here in Season 7. We're only 10 races in, and he's 4th in points, has gotten 2 wins, and is in the hunt to perhaps take the points lead over if he can have a strong enough run, and hope Kilburn, Sheldon, and Fitzwater have bad runs, and he could capitalize on it. Speaking of capitalizing on opportunity, Matt McIntyre, who fell from 2nd to 8th in points after Pukekohe, now he has the race lead for now, and look who's right behind him, Zach Rogers. Zach Rogers not had a great start to the season, 34th in points, definitely looking to change that here today at Talladega as he led at the line. I think we've had a different leader every single lap so far. So this race has already been fantastic for Marvel Studios Cup Series standards. Carson Gum, who, if I recall, I believe won at Bristol a few races ago. He's looking to try and get his first restrictor plate win of the season. Right now, side by side with Jonathan Zorley. It's almost like now the outside and the inside were relatively even going into turn 3, but because some drivers ended up trying to make the middle line work, didn't really work out too well for the outside. And look at the run Joshua Sakuli got. That inside line really kicked in because a lot of drivers went to the bottom off of turn 4. Sakuli led at the line, but now Dollarton takes over the top spot, and right behind him is the defending series champion Rob Evans. Rob Evans, we haven't really talked much about him this season, but he comes into the race 12th in points, so he's not had a bad start to Season 7, just not to the expectations he was hoping for. But maybe today his luck will change and he'll get back up there in hopes of trying to go 2 in a row for championships. It's not been done before in any series that I've had on this channel. We've never had a driver win 2 straight championships. Rob Evans trying to do that. Meanwhile, look who's on the bottom about to take the lead and now has the lead, James Qualls. Qualls, he comes into this race 32nd in points, so he's similar to a lot of drivers I've mentioned in this race so far. Not had a great start to Season 7, and is definitely looking to use Talladega as a launching point to perhaps greatness for the rest of the season. And he goes and blocks both lanes to keep the top spot, at least for the time being. Cody Lamas, with that help from Zachary Fitzwater, gets to the back bumper of Qualls. But now Zachary Fitzwater is about to say go time to try and get to the race lead to get a bonus point in hopes of trying to extend his points lead a little bit. But keep this in mind as well. Like I said, Fitzwater has gotten 3 wins already here in Season 7. He's looking to go for his 4th here today, as he's currently running in 2nd. But now, as I say that, here comes... We actually got Backmarker Motorsports teammates working together up here at the front. Seth Cole with help from James Shelley on the inside, trying to get up there. But I was going to say, I was going to check to see where Jessica Shelton was running on track, and it looks like... There she is on the bottom, right behind Johnny Gardner, in front of Caleb Kilburn. That would be around... Yeah, that's around mid-pack, a little past mid-pack, I would say. Qualls actually led 2 laps. I believe he has led the most laps so far in this race, which is really interesting, as we're now pretty much at the halfway point of the Aaron's 499. Be impossible to do a full field rundown, considering there's still double the 3-wide racing all throughout the field. Shelley had the lead, but here comes Ryan Acosta. Ryan Acosta comes into this race 13th in points. He actually moved up quite a few spots after Pukako. But just as I'm saying that, Hannah Klein now trying to get another lap led. I believe she led a lap earlier in the race. So this is, I believe, her 2nd lap led so far. But look who's coming to the bottom, the Daytona 500 winner, Charles Sanford, who ever since Daytona, he's kind of been falling apart race by race, to the point where he comes into this race 29th in points, and his only good run has been that win at the Daytona 500. But he's looking to go 2 in a row at restrictor plate tracks here today. But yeah, so far these drivers have been racing each other really, really clean. And not really any trouble has brewed, but watch as I say that, there's going to be the big one. But Charles Sanford leads at the line, but now we got a new challenger trying to take the race lead over, and that's Dylan Jacobs in the 78, the Season 5 champion. Dylan Jacobs comes in this race 14th in points, so he's had an alright start to Season 7. He just still looking for a win. And I don't remember if he even won a race in Season 6, so he might be on a really long winless streak right now, as he gets moved up to the high side as Johnny Gardner. I've noticed those 4, Gardner, Shelton, Kilburn, and Norman, had kind of been working together for a few laps now, but now that teamwork's about to change, as here comes Jessica Shelton to take the race lead over, and she, like I said, comes into this race 2nd in points, only 10 points behind Zachary Fitzwater. So, and she's been, statistically, in terms of average finish, the best driver this season at a, double check here, at a 11.8 average finish here in Season 7. Just hasn't been able to get a win yet. And she's going to have to wait to try later to try and get to the front again as she gets put up to the high side. Kilburn had the lead for a moment, but now we got Curtis McIntyre teammates working together on the bottom. Joshua Sakuli back to the front, and DJ Curtis, who was the pole sitter, up here in 2nd. But just as that happens, that party gets broken up by Joey Parkhill in the 38, trying to actually take 2 spots away, takes 2nd, but now wants the race lead for himself. Parkhill to the front. Then we got Backmarker Motorsports teammates working together, Carson Gum and Cole Baker, but Baker decides to pull out of line to go to the bottom. After all, Baker has been, like I said, I believe I said this earlier, he's in true desperation to get a good finish to boost his confidence for the rest of the season going forward. But when we cross the line, it's going to be 10 laps to go, so time's starting to run out for some drivers, but everyone's still running really, really well. In fact, I'm going back to last place in the scoring thing to see how far back they are. Only a 1.25 seconds from first to last, so still anybody's got a chance in this race as long as you know where to go at what point in time, and your friends are where you find them. Basically the typical restrictor play racing mentality. As Park Hill did lead at the line, but here comes Rafael Fireblade, who I believe led a lap earlier, or at the very least was leading at one point. In fact, it's a Ford-dominated bottom lane right now. The top 5 in the bottom lane are all Fords, but for different teams. You got 2 from Curtis McIntyre Racing, 1 from Horseman Racing, 1 from Young Motorsports, and 1 from Average Joe Enterprises. Rafael Fireblade actually getting almost like a 2-car tandem up here with Jonathan Zorline, at least for now. But Benjamin Miles and company are reeling them in. Benjamin Miles, actually, haven't talked about him all race. 7th in points and has had a pretty solid start to the season. Looking to get that win here in Season 7. But we're seeing some old contenders come back up here towards the front. Cole Deaver, James Qualls, to name a couple of them. Deaver's got an open lane right there as he's going to take that bottom lane, but didn't lead the lap. But he's going to take the lead going into turn 1 with that help from James Qualls. It looked like I thought they were going to go 4 wide for a moment. That would have been interesting to see. As things are a little dicey around the middle of the pack. Back up at the front, however, Qualls gets overtaken by Cole Deaver now, as Deaver takes the top spot. Jordan Forbes right behind him. Jordan Forbes comes into this race 21st in points, so he's been gradually moving up in the point standings race by race. It's just been a matter of trying to stay consistent. But right now, he's going to lose several spots at being forced up high. Hannah Klein coming back to the front once again, this time with help from Jay Jefferson in the 5. It's going back here. It looks like they are, well, are they going to go 4 wide? Let's go to helicopter view for a little bit here as to watch all this from above. No, it's still 3 wide for many, many rows. 4 wide is manageable. It's just a matter of giving room to each other and not leaning on one another and causing a big one to happen. But they've been keeping it relatively double to 3 wide all race long without any issues. Close at the line, but Jay Jefferson led the lap. But here comes Henry Sanford with a run to the bottom. Just imagine if he won this race, it'd be 2 restrictor plate races in a row where a Sanford brother won the respective race. It was Charles back at Daytona. Could Henry get it here at Talladega? There's only one way to find out, is when we get to the line next time by, it will be 5 laps to go, so definitely time's starting to run out for these drivers. As look, they are 3 wide for many rows deep as they're really starting to push it now. But Jay Jefferson has a bit of a gap right now up here at the front, which is not really a good thing, because when everyone's in a draft like that right behind you, they can suck up to your back bumper and really push you out of the way aerodynamically. But Jefferson doesn't feel that affected by it, as he just blocked the middle and bottom lanes. Jefferson comes into this race 10th in points. Did get a win earlier this season. I can't remember where it was in particular. I want to say it was Pensacola, I believe. But he's had a solid start here to Season 7, looking to keep that going. But Henry Sanford takes the lead back, but then goes up high to block and left the bottom open for Alyssa Drayson to take a position away, as Alyssa Drayson takes the lead for now. But Cody Lamas feels it's go time now, and Lamas is a driver that's been hungry for a win all season so far, 6th in the point standings. Definitely on the hunt to try and get his first win of the season, but now more contenders up here. Chris Dollerton, who I believe led a lap earlier in the race, wants to get back up there, as you can tell that time is running out, and he's hoping and praying to get this win here at Talladega, and that would be a huge confidence booster for him, considering he's in the back half of the championship standings. But Ricky Carmen, who's a rookie, is looking for his first win, and he's 18th in points. And now he takes the lead for now, and it's going to be 3 to go here at the line. So I feel if a caution were to come out now, the race would end under caution because we wouldn't have enough time to get back to green flag racing. But I don't think we're going to have that, because we've seen all race long these drivers have been racing each other clean and with a lot of respect. Carson Gum up here at the front now, looking for his second win of the season. But look who just got a big push to the bottom, up to second in line on the bottom, and that's Michael Norman in the 3, a former Daytona 500 winner in this series. And then a couple of past champions right behind him, Dylan Jacobs and Rob Evans right behind. It's going to be 2 laps to go here at the start-finish line. Michael Norman's going to lead here. 2 more laps here at Talladega, as drivers are trying to make final stretches up to the front, but the bottom kind of got a bit of a separation, and that helped for a couple of cars to go to the bottom to try and keep the bottom lane going. Rob Evans left that bottom lane open for Jake Rogers to try and take that 3rd spot. Dylan Jacobs staying in line behind Michael Norman, but he's going to have help from teammate Jake Rogers pretty soon. Is Rogers going to help Jacobs get to the front, or is he going to try and get to the front himself? It looks like he's going to try and get to the front himself as he leaves his teammate hanging. Julia Catrine, right now the highest running rookie, in 3rd. White flag is out as the stinking camera messed up right there, and Michael Norman left the bottom open. Jake Rogers takes the lead. We're going to be coming through the backstretch, and this could be a big opportunity for some drivers to pull out a line to go to the bottom to make moves. And as I say that, here comes Julia Catrine in the 26 Disturbed Ford. She's got a lot of momentum, but look who's coming in behind. And Charles Sanford, the Daytona 500 winner. Could he have something for the top 2? If he's going to make a move, he's going to have to make it off of turn 4. And he doesn't really make the move, but here comes Chris Dollerton. He's going to get a push from Charles Sanford. It's going to be close at the line, but I think it's Dollerton. Checkered flag waving. Chris Dollerton wins the Aaron's 499 at Talladega. Great pass, went to the bottom, entering the tri-oval, got the push from Charles Sanford, and finally, after so far this season of just bad luck, Chris Dollerton finally gets his first win of the season, or at the very least his first great run despite a win, or despite it being a win. This has been his best run so far in Season 7. This is definitely going to boost his confidence going forward. And he locks himself into the All-Star race here in a couple of weeks, so that's definitely huge for the 83. But man, arguably best race so far this season. Constant changing for the lead pretty much every lap, despite a couple people leading multiple laps. Every driver raced each other with respect, raced clean, and we didn't even get the big one in this race, which is kind of surprising, but stranger things have happened. But congratulations to Chris Dollerton as we take a look at the rest of the results. Charles Sanford was so close to going 2 in a row at restrictor plate tracks, but gets his best finish since Daytona, finishing 2nd here today. Julia Catrine, so close to winning herself, but just got outbeat at the line and passed in the tri-oval by Sanford and Dollerton at the end, but still highest finishing rookie, finishing in 3rd. Artur Castanha with a solid performance in the 4th position, and then Dylan Young, who was kind of in and out of the conversation for getting a good run, gets a good run in 5th. Jessica Sheldon with a great run in the 6th position. I believe that could put her back into the points lead depending on where Zachary Fitzwater finished. DJ Curtis gets a solid run in 7th. Caleb Kilburn, great run in 9th, and possibly could move up to 2nd in points. James Qualls with his best run in a few races, finishing in 9th. And then Cole Baker, I believe that's his first top... No, that's might be his first top 10 finish of the season, if not his second. But still a great run nonetheless. Then there's the rest of your top 20, your top 30, and then the rest of the field. And the 5 drivers who did not get points were Ryan Acosta, second race in a row for Melissa Alexander, Benjamin Miles, Jordan Forbes, and Clint Spillman's bad luck just continues. But tough break for them, as you're watching Chris Dollarton's victory burnout here at Talladega. Well-deserved as well. But with that said, we got one race left before All-Star break, and that is Darlington for the Mountain Dew 400. But until then, here are your results, rookie points, and regular points heading into Darlington. And this is Levi McIntyre, signing off.